Great day to you, friend. Mark Munch Bishop, Falcon head coach Adam Howard, Andy Barch, play-by-play voice of the Notre Dame Falcons in the house. And the bottom line, coach, congratulations. 1-0 on the year. So, there's just more games to play, but you'd rather be 1-0 than 0-1. But even more so, South Euclid was rocking. The NDC campus was rocking. Muller Field was rocking. There was a buzz all week, and it continued on with your 37-31. I'm going to say a hard-fought victory over the Malone Pioneers. Great to have you again, friend.
Yeah, great to be back, Munch. It was awesome atmosphere. So proud of our guys who pulled that win out. It was big for our football program, but also big for the community, big for the college. I think it was, hats off to our administration, to the college, everybody. It was a all hands on deck type of deal to put on our first game, on campus. And I think a lot of the students had a great time. It was good to see them out there and support, and it was good to get that first win under our belt.
How exciting was it? We talked about traditions, this and that, but the Falcon Walk, walking with the players to the field. I know there just had to be, you guys, none of you were probably touching the ground when that happened.
Yeah, it's just neat to see that that's what college football is all about. Our campus community is really embracing athletics and football, and ever since we started this football program, we wanted to institute some traditions that are, some things that, when I grew up, seeing some of the traditions that, the University of Notre Dame and, some of the big college programs, right. And then, my small college football experience, adding that all together to create an atmosphere where the students can have fun, they can really embrace, Saturday afternoons.
Did you ever flash back to your days at Wilmington or coaching at BW thinking, okay, that was cool, let's do this, that was cool, let's do this, and you incorporate them in? Because, hey, why not? Why not if they're good things?
Yeah, of course I do. Everything, in my experience, whether it's my playing experience or coaching experience, I've brought to Notre Dame the positive things. Mm-hmm. A lot of the things that I really embraced and loved as a player, I've tried to institute that here. And some things have worked, some things haven't. It just depends on what fits for our campus. But I think Saturday was a great benchmark for us in terms of what's to come.
It is the NDC Coaches Show with Adam Howard on ESPN Cleveland. 508 yards of total offense. You have to put the abacus away, okay? Not even the calculator on the phone is going to work for this one. But the bottom line is, here's what I enjoyed looking at the wrap-up of the game. You know what Ray Rush is going to do. We know what Pedro Powell's going to do, okay, every time you hand him the ball. But how much fun was it incorporating Jack Foy into the game? Record 10 receptions, 140 yards. Something I didn't expect, Coach, and apparently the Pioneers didn't expect that either.
Well, Jack's a very good football player. He can do a little bit of everything. He can line up in the backfield. We can hand him the football, or he can line up in the slot and we can throw him the ball too. So it's a lot of fun to have a versatile player like that that can do so many things for your offense. And, if you look, beyond Ray and Pedro, there were a lot of guys that really contributed. Our big tight end is such a factor in the game because he can block and then be a great receiving threat. And Ray J. Brown, he had some great catches for us. And we had some young receivers really step up, where we had our number one guys, our number one outside receivers were hurt early in the game, Colton Wallace and Mikhail Morgan. And, we had two guys go in, and Mitchell Shigos and Dejon Graham, and they had big games. So it was next man up mentality. It was good to see that, we're a true college football program, that, we can withstand some of those normal injuries, and it's just a next man up. We've done a great job recruiting.
Coach, I'm sorry, Eddie, go ahead, buddy.
Here too also, but you talked about some of the guys that have been made on kind of football point feeds, and the impact he had in return. He was so good that game in the first half that he actually forced the to take away from you guys in the second.
Yeah, Mike was awesome. He's fearless as a returner. He's a guy that doesn't back down. He goes full speed at it. Does exactly what we want him to do. He has great ball skills. He can catch the ball. And he's very dangerous in space. Had some return yardage to really put us in some favorable field positions.
Coach and Andy, we know this. Offense, defense, special teams. A lot of times if one facet of your game is slipping, you're going to come away with it now. And Andy, how much fun was it for you? In fact, years from now, I plan on doing this for quite a few more decades, all right? Don't be horrified. Years from now, it's going to be who called that first game in the history of Muller Field at NDC, and the name's going to be Andy Barch. How did that feel for you, Andy?
Well, it was a lot of fun. You're seeing the game 37-30 with the final. You're going to get a lot of highlights to come on with. I think the back and forth was a lot of fun, too. Before we came on, you guys were talking always a sense of urgency when you're down, but I mean, you just got to give us an idea as to what's going on that side. You guys down 3 times, not only you down 3 times, but there were some instances where it looked like the ball bouncing the other way. But you guys still rebounded, came back, and you got down.
Well, in situations like that, immature teams that haven't prepared well, doubt creeps in, and that goes right back to really what our theme of the year is. And you see the RTD everywhere. It's on our helmet. It's on everything in our program. And what that means is it's remove the doubt. And doubt creeps in when you haven't properly prepared for something. It's like taking a test. If you walk into a test that you haven't prepared for, you have anxiety, you have doubt that you're going to do very well. It's not a good feeling. But if you walk into a test that, hey, I have prepared, I've over-prepared for this, I'm feeling confident about it, I have absolutely no doubt. And, that's I think, what our guys felt on the sidelines. I looked around and, there were still smiles on our faces. We were embracing the moment, and we didn't let doubt creep in.
Guys, I'll tell you what's cool about that. And Coach, you're in good company with that mantra. I know for a fact at Ohio State, Urban Meyer, as much of a gunslinger people think he is, he was just as soon. He told Tim Tebow this, he told Miller and Guyton this, that if you're in the shotgun or under center and you get 5-6 yards, then you take that 5-6 yards and we won't do anything else. Or he just as soon hand it to the tailback and run between the guard and tackle or the center and guard, left and right, if it's there. But something that he goes by. And if you remember the Ohio State-Purdue game last year when they rallied back and got a 2-point conversion, everybody was saying, do this, do this, do that. His offensive coordinator, Tom Herman, said, why don't we do the play we practiced? Because we know it will work. And whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Notre Dame College, whether it's Urban Meyer, whether it's Coach Howard, remove the doubt and do what you practice because it becomes commonplace. So it's a repetition. What are reps for? To get better at it and make it just natural.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it from an offensive standpoint, me being on the offensive side, I think Coach Reichel, our offensive coordinator, said this week is that, learning from Larry Karras, who he played for, is that, hey, we're going to run the offense that we run all year long. The team that we play has 1 week to prepare for that offense. We do what we do every single day, all day, every day. So, it's the whole thing about they shouldn't be able to be as effective stopping our offense as we are running it. And that's the idea.
Coach, looking at Malone and Notre Dame College matching up in 2010, they beat you 32-0. 2011, 49-16. All of a sudden, the tables have turned now. Is that an indication of the direction the Notre Dame College program is heading?
Yeah, it is. I mean, when we started our program, we were out there with a bunch of 18-year-olds kind of peeing down their leg a little bit, and
I mean, did you have a senior class?
Right, yeah.
I mean, they might be grade-wise, but no, you didn't have guys that were in your program for a few years.
Right, yeah. The more you invest, the more you care. Obviously, the stronger that you get, the continuity that you have with the coaching staff. So, this year we're starting to feel like we're a true college football program. We've cycled through, a full class of people. So we're getting to that point where our guys are pretty confident in what they've done over a 4-year period to prepare.
You finished up with Malone, the GLIAC team, this week. Welcome to the Mountain East Conference as you travel to Urbana to play the Blue Knights. Let's take a short break. When we come back, let's look at what the Blue Knights did last week. But before that, I want to give tribute to your defense, too, because Coach Padilla, knowing him, he's cool, calm, and collected. But I'm sure once or twice this week, and maybe Thunder tomorrow, he's going to get some cold sweats looking at the 537 yards that Urbana put up last week. But they also were very, very generous with giving the ball away. So we'll talk about that when we come back. It's a Notre Dame College show with head coach Adam Howard, Andy Barch, voice of the Falcons in the house, and humbly, Mark Bishop with you on ESPN Cleveland. Andy Barch, voice of the Falcons with us too. Coach, we paid tribute and homage to your offense already. We got to look at some of the guys on defense. I don't care who you are, but when I see 16 tackles, like we did out of the young man from Massillon, Washington High School, Bo Grunder, saw him play in high school, and I'm thinking for 5'10", 180 pounds, this is a kid, the proverbial wanting a foxhole with me already. But you had Grunder, you had the defensive end Babel, and you had the linebacker Davis. These guys were a one, because they're a team. You play as a team, but definitely a wrecking crew.
Yeah, they did a great job. I was extremely proud of our defense. They had to settle down after the first half, and Coach Padilla has done a great job of installing a new system. He's a new defensive coordinator that started with us last spring. It's finished spring, really getting guys to buy into the culture, and it was good to see in that second half. I told the guys this morning, even though we stalled in short yardage offense, we had an opportunity where we could have run out the clock on offense. We failed to do that. So we put our defense out there in two situations late in the game where we had the lead. They had to get a stop to win the game, and they responded in both situations. Josh Remark had a big interception, and then we got a stop at the end of the game to win the game. And I think it showed that we are really developing an identity on defense, that we're going to be mentally tough.
One thing, too, and I told you before we started, when I see a defense, I mean, if you're shutting the team out in the fourth quarter and you're allowing them 66 total yards, yeah, those listening, you heard me correctly, 66 total yards, that tells me not only is the defense getting stronger, not only when you said, back the guys up a little bit, saying, yeah, I know you're exuberant, but if this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. If you're a linebacker supposed to be sliding side to side, not backpedaling, then that's what you need to do. But it also tells me that Alex Grader, DB's coach and strength and conditioning coach, is doing his job as the guys got stronger as the game went on.
Yeah, Alex and Matt Ulrich have done a great job with our strength and conditioning program. They've done a fantastic job. I think our guys, when you get to the fourth quarter, it's not only about your execution, it's about your physical conditioning too, and we really take pride in that.
Coach, I've told you this before and have a lot of fun doing it, but I am firmly convinced that the most important play in football is the first down. I've noted that too. People say, what kind of play is that? I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you jump over linemen bear crawling towards you to get to you. The first down is the most important play. Heck, back at St. Henry, 183rd in the Harvard CYO ball in 6th grade, I remember the coach said, keep the offense on the field, keep the ball in your hands, keep their defense on the field, keep their offense off the field. Good things are going to happen. And you had an amazing, 508 total yards is amazing. And Russ throwing for 340 is amazing. And Pedro rushing for 150. And Foy getting 140 through the air is amazing. But 29 first downs. All I know is that you close your eyes and you smile because that clock is ticking away when you're moving the chains, my friend, and you're keeping the ball.
Yeah, even though we're a fast-paced offense, it doesn't mean we're necessarily, taking big shots down the field all the time. We still push the ball down the field, but we believe in staying on schedule, and that's what we'd like to see, is that we have a lot of first downs. We're moving the ball consistently. We like to have long drives, and we had several long drives on the day. So that's, our offense, I think helped our defense too, and our defense helped our offense. It was a great team effort.
Coach, how many plays did you run last week? Offensively?
Well, officially it was in the 80s. I think it was 87 offensive plays. We lined up, I think, for 92 total.
5 penalties. Now, Andy, give me the secret. You have 5-6 bottles of water there. You got the lozenges. I mean, how do you keep going?
You got to keep a bottle of water. Just got to keep wetting that whistle. I mean, it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's more fun that way. No doubt, Ty.
And once you know how much you're getting the muscle, right? I mean, it takes you maybe half a quarter, especially for that first year. You kind of get back into it. You establish a pretty well, so you know when an offense is moving, you're trying to win it. And, when you're trying to identify who's on the field where, from a play-by-play perspective, it gets a heck of a lot easier when you're sticking with that same group the entire time.
You guys don't have a deal saying, Coach, don't put any, don't substitute 4-5 at one time, right?
No, and even if we did, we get the 2 we can keep track.
I know you'd have. We're talking to head coach Adam Howard, getting ready for this week's Mountain East Conference game against the Urbana Blue Knights. We'll cover them when we come back after the next break. But just looking defensively, all together, the big pick, as you said, 124 yards through the air overall, just shows a combination that you're not the kind of defense that's going to get gashed on the run but tighten up against the pass, that all areas of your defensive game are strong. There are no weaknesses.
Yeah, pretty proud of those guys. And they say, too, that the biggest improvement usually made with teams is between week 1 and week 2. And, we are looking to improve in all phases. We've got a challenge ahead of us in Urbana. They're a highly touted offense, but I think our guys have prepared with a chip on their shoulder this week. They've prepared really well, and they look forward to playing a good team. And our defense is definitely looking forward to facing one of the best quarterbacks in Division II.
When you talk about best quarterbacks in Division II, DJ Mendenhall already up for just about every award there is, but you've got to get through the season. Coach, I wanted to ask you this. You talked about Coach Padilla and his new defensive system. You've got 4 down linemen, 2 backers. basically on the program. But I've seen the position called the dog before. Heck, years ago, George Purvis started with the monster at Michigan State. George Webster, kind of that rover back kind of thing. On the two deeps, I look and you have 5 quote-unquote DBs.
Right.
A safety, a strong safety, free safety, 2 cornerbacks. But the guys can fly, but they can still hit. Hence, you don't know what that fifth guy's going to be. Is he going to be a DN? Is he going to poke between an end or a tackle? Is he going to line up as a linebacker? Does that create confusion for the offense?
Well, it just puts good matchups on the field. We're in a situation where we have good enough athletes on the defensive side and they're versatile enough to be stout versus the run, yet do all the things that we ask them to do in dropping into pass coverage and covering man-to-man. So guys like Josh Remark, who's our strong safety, and Onslow Williams, and Bo Grunder, and Mo May, those guys are athletic, they're versatile guys that can stick their nose in there versus the run, but can be athletic enough to play in space. So that's what we do. We're not always a 4-down team. We're versatile enough. Coach Padilla does a good job of getting into a 3-down system, a 4-down, and creating some confusion, but being really solid at what we do.
Coach Adam Howard, the NDC Notre Dame College Coaches Show. Andy Bars, the voice of the Falcons with us too. I'm Mark Bishop. One last break. Let's come back. And I know you're looking at him a lot. Look at your opponent this week, traveling on the road, heading to Urbana. Urbana checks in at 0-1. We told. But you know what? It's never a disgrace getting beat by a friendly team. We know that. That's a high-powered team, too. Noon kickoff on Saturday, Urbana Stadium, so we'll get you back home for dinner, no doubt about that, with that game. But let's look at your opponent when we come up next. It is the Notre Dame College Coaches Show with Coach Adam Howard, Mark Bishop, Andy Barsh, most importantly, you, friend, on ESPN Cleveland. Defense offside, Coach, okay? If you notice, I changed my cadence up there a bit. Okay, face Malone. Last week, came away with a victory. Now, you're going up against Urbana, Mountain East Conference. I won't call the other games, preseason because they count against your overall record. But now you're in the league. Now you're facing a team that's a pretty darn good football team, maybe. Okay, they lost to Findlay, 55-33. But in that loss, they put up 537 yards. Now they turned the ball over 5 times. And you talked about a ball bouncing your way. That's why there's points on a football. You never know where it's going to go. But overall, this is a pretty loaded Urbana team when I'm looking at All-American accolades for 5 Blue Knights. So their quarterback, the receiving core is deep. I mean, you got your work cut out for you on Saturday.
Yeah, headed into this week, it was, a focus of some of the things that we can improve on first, and then really start our preparation toward Urbana. It's coming out of the game. You want to make sure that you focus on 1 or 2 things. You don't gray it up by focusing on 20 things or trying to focus on 20 things from Saturday's game. Pick 1 or 2 things that you can really improve on. Those things were, obviously coming out the second half of the Malone game, we had I think it was a 9-yard pass to Jack Floyd. We got ourselves in a second one. And then on that second one, we threw a slant, and it was miscommunication between the X receiver and the quarterback. We complete that slant, and that's a big play. They were giving it to us, but we don't, and then we run the ball on 3rd down, don't get it, forced to punt, and they block the punt for a touchdown. So, that's
we talked special teams earlier, yeah?
Yeah, it ends up being a 14-point swing, and it's just a couple of little things that you have to do right. A short yardage offense where you're in a couple of situations where we needed to punch the ball in or get a first down, run the clock out, and we didn't do that. So that was our focus offensively. The obvious things with special teams, we've got to clean up some of the simple fundamentals, the snap, the kick, getting better at those things, the protection. And then defensively, just our run fits. We wanted to continue to focus on, stopping the run. Early on in the Malone game, we missed a few run fits, but we settled down in the second half. So those are the things that we focused on early, and then recentered our focus toward the band.
Coach, you keep talking about settling down in the second half. So what I'm getting, there's not a heck of a lot of time, but when you go in at halftime, they're just not resting, getting a little bit of a blow, but you're still instructing, you're still teaching, you're still telling them things that they have to stop doing and things they need to start doing?
Oh, absolutely. During the game, I think being on the sidelines as a head coach now, this is my 5th year, I've been able to, the game slowed down for me as a head coach, and, identifying things that I can pick out at halftime that we can clearly go in there with an objective and say, this is what we need to do, and these are very correctable things that we can fix in just a 20-minute period. So we went in halftime and we talked about a few things, and coaches did a great job of communicating that, and I think they did a better job in a lot of those things in the second half.
Coach, you've got DJ Mendenhall, who you're going to be facing on Saturday, the fine quarterback from Urbana. You've got some receivers we told you about. When you've got guys that have played a couple years already, like Webb, Wilburn, Ogletree, and Johnson. When you look at these players, it's also, again, darned if you do, darned if you don't, pick your poison. Sure, you have to get a pass rush. Sure, you have to get you have to cover, because I don't care who your DBs are. If the quarterback has all the time to throw, he's going to pick apart anybody. I don't care who's back there. But what will your focus be? Just well-rounded defense overall?
Yeah, I mean, when you face an offense that ran 90-some plays against Finley last week, you got to make sure that your defense understands that it's not necessarily about yardage. They're probably going to make some yardage. They're going to get some yardage. They have a senior quarterback. They have a very good receiving core. But it's going to be more about us tackling in space, us contesting every single play. We're both fast-paced offense, so it's going to be about mental toughness in the fourth quarter. Who's better conditioned, I think, is going to go a long way. Our defense is, they're chomping at the bit. They're looking at this as a great opportunity for them.
Coach, travel schedule, noon game Saturday in Urbana. What will the travel schedule be like for the Falcons this weekend?
Well, we'll travel tomorrow. We'll spend the night in Springfield, Ohio, and then make the trip in the morning. And I like the noon games, because you don't have a lot of time to sit around and think about the game.
Just go play the game.
Yeah, you wake up, you eat breakfast, you get taped, you go play, and that's what it's going to be like.
And we want to let everybody know, too, that 1 week from Saturday, the 21st, 2 o'clock, West Virginia Wesleyan comes into Muller Field. We'll make it 2-0 there, and let's hope it's 3-0 overall. Coach, as always, thank you, my friend. Go get him, all righty?
Enjoyed it much. Thanks.
And Andy Barch, thank you, sir. And always, friend, it's a treat to be Hey, Willie on site. Hooking us up, Chris Kuhn, Chris the Zip, a.k.a. back in the studio. Friend, as always, when you see a police officer, firefighter, emergency services worker, some of the military, put your hand out, shake theirs. Thank them for what they do, or mouth a thank you to them, and remember, life is precious. Enjoy every sandwich. You're listening to the Notre Dame Coaches Show with Coach Adam Howard on ESPN Cleveland. Till next time around, friend. Adios, amigo. Long may you run.